Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. From the football pitch to the pool, University of Pennsylvania swimmer Lia Thomas has reignited controversy following her victory in the 500 yards freestyle at the NCAA Swimming Championships over the weekend. Thomas is the first transgender athlete to be crowned NCAA Champion, a feat which has attracted criticism from fellow competitors and fans alike. Critics say Thomas has an unfair advantage over the other competitors and should not have been allowed to compete. Many are supporting that view, with users of social media moving to crown the woman she beat, University of Virginia swimmer Emma Weyant, as the winner of the event. Weyant is a silver medalist from the Tokyo Olympics. This is what Thomas said in her post-race interview.
I didn't have a whole lot of expectations for this meet. I was just happy to be here, trying to race and compete as best as I could. I try to ignore it as much as I can. I try to focus on my swimming, what I need to do to get ready for my races, and just try to block out everything else. It means the world to be here, be with two of my best friends and teammates, and be able to compete.
Rika Georgi, who competed at the 2016 Olympics for Hungary and now swims for Virginia Tech, has waded into the debate over Thomas's win. This is what she said. As a woman in sports, I can tell you that I know what the real threats to women's sports are: sexual abuse and harassment, unequal pay and resources, and the lack of women in leadership. Transgender girls and women are nowhere on the list. So, the debate starts now. Let's talk. What say us on this story? Whitaker, I heard you earlier. Mariah, heard you. Let me hear you.
Again?
Yes.
Let Lance go first, because he was very, very brief.
No, we want to hear from you. We wanted to lead the conversation.
Okay. So, as a female myself, I couldn't even imagine being competing in the same race with you and Lance. Basically because of the biological makeup of both of you. I tend to believe that once you go through puberty as a male, your body is stronger. Just your makeup, your physical makeup, your biological makeup, the amount of testosterone that's in your body and whatnot. So for me, if I were competing in an event with a transgender athlete, I would feel, a sort of unfair advantage is being given to the transgender athlete, because at the end of the day, their makeup is not similar to mine.
And so your position on this story is what?
That I think that there is unfair advantage where this is concerned, and I do hope that the bodies that are running these events can come to some sort of common ground, maybe create races for transgender athletes alone, not put them in the same category as the females that don't have the physical makeup like them.
Yeah, well, I can't depart too much from what Mariah is saying, because if I was a woman competing in these NCAA events and Lia Thomas beats me, I'm going to feel cheated. That's just the raw truth. I know that Lia Thomas had gone through some testosterone suppression treatment,
yes,
which apparently brings the testosterone down to a level that is acceptable to compete against women. But there still seems something ugly and even repulsive, as far as I'm concerned, about this. And I feel sympathy for the women who are competing against Lia Thomas.
And what I get though, George, based on the event, right, like we didn't even see the best of Lia Thomas as yet, because when in the post-match interview, the comments, right, you get the sense that Lia is aware that she's under the microscope. So, not giving it to all, holding back, because there's a conversation that she isn't the fastest. There's somebody that's faster than her.
A transgender athlete?
No.
Okay, a woman who's faster than her.
Yeah, so there's this discussion, but, in this debate that I was listening to, she wouldn't push to get to that level right now, because she understands that, there are criticisms, people will be talking. Imagine to just break that record. And you do know that when Lia was competing, ranked among the male, she was, okay, when Lia was competing as a man.
No, when Lia was a man.
Right, right. He was ranked 400 among the other men. And now Lia is competing among the women and number 1 in this event. So that alone speaks for itself.
It's a new world. We have to be very careful, not even what we say alone, because depending on what you think, something might slip cost you your career. Transphobia is a real thing, and based on how the debate around transphobia is poised, a wrong opinion from either of us not supporting Lia Thomas is enough to set an interest group against us and cause us to not hold a job that we want to hold on for now. I mean, we may want to move on to something else in the future, but for now we want to keep this job. So I'm just saying that the transphobia family or community is such that any criticism of athletes like Lia Thomas is viewed through those lenses and stripped of all objectivity and submission of empirical evidence and just watering it down to you hating transgender athletes and that's what you are. Yeah? So I'm saying that that's a danger we face.
I understand.
I applaud the stance that both of you have taken. I applaud Lance's stance especially. You can get away with more things, Moran, because you're a woman. Lance is in a difficult place along with himself.
But the thing is, the question that was posed to both of us, right? Like, we're having a conversation about the competition, the fact that, you know, women also competing are feeling hard done, and it's rightfully so. Like, you know, evidence proves that it has nothing to do with transgender athletes or people on the whole. We're not talking about the person. We are speaking about the competition.
Well, no, but we were talking about the competition and a person who is a transphobia woman, a transgender woman. So it is the person we're talking about. Yeah. So I'm saying that. All right, let me look.
George, you said something very important just now, that we're in a different world. Yeah. And every year that passes, that comes home very forcefully to us, that things aren't now as they were 10 or 20 years ago. I remember the heated discussions we had with Casta Semenya, who her testosterone levels were high, and because of her physical makeup, women feel intimidated competing against her and feel they were being unfair competing against her. Now, the IAAF had decreed that if she took drugs to reduce her testosterone levels, then it would qualify her to compete with women in the event that she wanted to, which she refused to do. And this discussion isn't far removed from that, even though it's a transgender issue that we are talking about here. But the equality of competition and the fairness that all athletes feel, the story remains the same.
But there's an issue to be made about fairness and equality, and that's where I'm going now, because I'm going to contribute substantively, but I had to say what I said before, just for the record. Fact is, though, and this may be seen to be in defense of Lia Thomas, there are events that she competed in where she didn't win against the women. So it has been proven that she is not among the best women in all woman events that she's competed in post her transition from being a man. That supports her and her sympathizers to say, look, she has no inherent advantage by virtue of being transgender. She has no inherent advantage by virtue of having a body built and honed with the testosterone that courses through the body of a normal boy. So the hue and cry over her winning the 500 yards is balderdash, because there is evidence that this is just but one event that she's dominant in.
Yeah, but Mariah touched on something earlier on where she hinted or inferred that as far as moving up the rankings is concerned, to challenge being number one and so on, there may have been, from Lia Thomas's standpoint, not so much of a desire to hurriedly get there and bring more attention, negative attention to the performances, which before you continue, George, which is the way I felt sometimes when I saw Casta Semenya perform. I saw Casta Semenya running many races that it appeared to me, I'm not sure, I'm not in her body, but it appeared to me that she didn't give her best. Almost as if she didn't want to win, because if she won, everyone would come.
Let's pick that apart then. Let's pick that apart. All right. You saw Casta Semenya holding back in her pet events. But we know that Casta Semenya, in her state before she left the track, couldn't win the 100 meters or even make the final, couldn't win the 200 meters or make the final, because what is true is that notwithstanding her advantage in the event that was her speciality, she couldn't compete with the best women in other events that were outside her speciality. So that's
But she didn't prepare for those, though. But
exactly, she didn't prepare for those, because preparing for those would have perhaps blunted her effect in her speciality events. So it feeds into the argument that Lia Thomas is making, that look, whether I'm holding back or not, and on the point of holding back, it's a good argument to make, but I don't know how anybody can know that unless Lia Thomas tells them. And I have seen no quotes where Lia Thomas has said, I am holding back. People have said, it appears that she's holding back in other events. Yeah. So, Christine Mboma, the outstanding Namibian, who is tearing up track and field and is the biggest danger to Elaine and company and Shelley and everybody else. She is deadly at 100 and 200. She appears to be very good at 400. But what if she went 800? Would she be a threat to Athingmu? What if she went 15 and 3,000?
Well, I don't think so.
No, but so the point I'm making is, even with a transgender woman, there is going to be a specialty event that she will be better than other women in. But there will be other events that they'll compete in that they'll not be as effective. And it is not because they're holding back. It's just because they aren't as good as the best in those other areas. And that supports the argument that athletes like Lia Thomas is making. What is so wrong if I compete in 4 or 5 disciplines and I'm better than the field in 1? Why castigate me for being stronger in 1 of 4 and not lionize me for being weaker in 3 or 4?
Right.
So it's the equivalency that those who support her, the argument that they'll make.
So I heard you, George, right? So, okay. So they're gonna, well, they've made provisions for her to take part. Now, what about the complaints, the outcries from those who feel as if, you know, it isn't fair to them? What happens? You made
a very good observation earlier, because you were the one who said that for Lia Thomas herself, sport isn't, she isn't getting a chance to fully express herself because maybe she's not going full pelt. No, sport, especially at the highest level, is all about an athlete putting their best foot forward. If for whatever reason Lia Thomas isn't putting her best foot forward, she's robbing herself and she's robbing the spectators who enjoy the sport. And she's also making a mockery of the competition around her, who knows that this woman is holding back and they can't lay a glove on her. So in every way, it makes a mockery of sport, and it is not good for sport. Now remember, you know, I am essentially with both of you with the original statements you made, but I'm just trying to expand it, because a way of attacking problems like these is to try to reason it out from the perspective of the person at the center of the controversy, in this case Lia Thomas, and those who support her. So that's what I expanded by the second and third points I made. But again, originally, I am with both of you, but I'm just saying that there is strong argument for her to not be removed from competing against these women, because she's not better than them or better than women in every event that she will compete in. And perhaps the answer, well, not perhaps, obviously the answer lies, Lance Mariah, in something Mariah said earlier. You're going to have transgender versus transgender categories.
That's what I feel,
transgender exclusive zones where they go there. Or, if you're transgender and you feel so good, go swim against the men. Because at the Olympics, men's events are open events. Women events are for women only. A man can't compete in a woman's event, but a woman can compete in a man's event. Why is it that no woman ever tries to go in the 100, 200, or any man's event? Because they know that they'll get beaten. Yeah. So that's the answer. It's going to be transgender exclusive zones to solve the problem. That's the only way out.
Yeah, you know that I always felt, from the Caster Semenya discussions that we've had here, that even though I have always come across sympathetic to the athletes who had to race against Caster Semenya, as I do now against the athletes swimming against Lia Thomas, I still think administratively it's a slippery slope to try to stifle or censor these athletes from competing. So while George used the term just now that, you know, it's hard to win a situation like this. And I think that in the Caster Semenya case, I always said that no one is a winner. Because even though I feel sympathy for the women she competed against,
her rivals.
Yeah, her rivals, I feel it is unfair to Caster Semenya to ban her because she didn't make herself. So, you know, it's hard to really be caustic in a discussion like this.
And then the rivals are looking to the administrators to do something.
Yeah. Having said that, though, this is a little bit different. Caster Semenya's testosterone levels are natural. Lia Thomas made a decision
to become a man.
Yes, so I will be a little less sympathetic there. But this is a different world. That's how we started. This is a different world.
And we end like that. So we go to break.
It's a different world.
We'll be right back.
From where you come from.